a link that I will post to the Incomparable Discord, and you can post to any social medias that you want. I think it is working. It's working. I'm listening to myself. I don't recommend it.
Mute.
Mute. I'm posting in the Roll20 chat. There is a link to the YouTube stream. To if you open it, you will hear yourself slightly in the past. So you may not want to do that, Glenn. But if you want to distribute that to any of your places, feel free to do that. And Secret Agent is already there telling us that it is Tuesday night, and we have audio, video, and audio, which is the question we always ask the stream: is any of this working? So
can you hear Dan? That is always my question. Yeah. If the answer is yes, we have a problem.
Yeah, Dan is not here today. If you can hear Dan, check under your seat. He may be there giving out free copies of his new book.
All Souls Lost available.
Offer only valid if he is snuck into your house. If you go to a bookstore, you will have to pay for the book. Yes, please don't commit any crimes as part of Dan's writing career. So, live stream / bootleg. Hello, it's me, Tony. We're going to get started with a new adventure shortly. This is going to be the 4th level adventure and the 4th adventure from the Keys from the Golden Vault series of heist-based adventures. I will say we just played the 3rd adventure, which was called Reach for the Stars, which involved sneaking around a haunted mansion, and there were cultists. I felt like that one was really kind of phoning in the heist element of it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a fine explore creepy house adventure, but I didn't think it qualified as a heist. So I will say that this one, I think this one may stretch the definition of heist a little bit in terms of what you're doing, but is very heist-like at the very least in terms of planning. You're gonna have to plan and do some stuff, and then stuff's gonna happen. So, adventures, any procedural questions or whatnot before we start the episode and get into it? It looks like 8 or 9 people have found us on YouTube, so the stream is working.
Yay. I have a procedural thing, and that's just a reminder that since this is the start of a new adventure, we should introduce and describe our characters in just a little more detail than typical. So we will. You can make me go first if you want.
Good reminder. Chip, spoiler for the live stream / bootleg, Chip Sudderth is joining us today as a new player, new to Total Party Kill, new to this adventure. Chip, the other characters are going to start out in one place together, and they're going to meet your character very soon. It's probably up to you how much you want to tell us about your character when we start the episode versus saving it for when we meet your character, hopefully less than 5 minutes into the adventure.
Oh boy.
Everybody starting in a different place. So we're right off triggering my what is it? Rejection sensitive dysphoria.
They're going to go meet you, but there's literally, as somebody who has sometimes been waiting in the wings for a character to meet, sometimes you're in those wings for a good hour. So
so just to set expectations for my friends and the bootleg live stream listeners, I previously seriously played Dungeons and Dragons in 1987.
Wow,
good year for it.
There were people alive in 1987. That's great.
Yeah. AD&D first edition, but even then, I was being gatekept by the people who had the AD&D first edition books with the old artwork.
Oh, wow. Nerds gonna nerd.
Bad artwork.
Yeah. So, should we start the episode, nerds?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Sure thing, geek.
Hey, no, I'm a nerd all the way. Geeks are cool. I think I haven't checked in on anything since 2007.
Not the historical definition of geek.
Well, past the chicken heads. So
reference acknowledged.
Uh-huh.
Welcome back to Total Party Kill. It's me, Tony Sindelar, a dungeon master. I use he, him pronouns. And today, doing one of my favorite things. You probably heard me say that before in reference to other favorite things, but maybe you already know what we're doing. We are starting a brand new adventure. Today, we are starting an adventure called Prisoner 13 from the Keys from the Golden Vault collection of adventures, which are intended to be heist-based adventures. Our players are operatives of the secret society / society with secrets, the Golden Vaults. They are known as keys, and they get sent out by that secret society to just do good in the world, make sure that the scales are tipped just a little bit in the favor of the good guys every now and then, and occasionally to keep elder gods from emerging from rocks that somebody misplaced in a museum. Your standard good guy stuff. So we're gonna find out what's gonna happen in this adventure very soon. You may already be able to guess some things about setting based on the title, Prisoner 13. I will also further tease that this adventure was intended to be a tie-in with the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out last year, which is to say a place that is seen in that movie appears in this adventure. Do other people that are named in the movie appear in this adventure? We'll find out.
They could pretty easily.
They do not. They
You
don't.
just have to change some names.
I know, it would be so easy, and yet they don't.
No, I'm Hugh Grant.
Yeah. So.
Whoa, how did we get Hugh Grant?
Well, he's a fan. Allow me, which is odd because allow me to introduce our players before they offer more jokes. First off, Total Party Kill producer and all-around good person, Erica Ensign.
Oh, thanks, Tony. It's very kind of you to say. I am here. Yes, Erica Ensign, she, her, playing Levithia du Isigri, also she, her. Levithia is a human ranger, and she generally is wearing something that is it looks like it's supposed to be like a nice dress, but it's very clearly been altered so that she could leave the room and head out into the forest very easily. She is incredibly nondescript, very just generic looking, and she's probably sitting in a corner staring into space.
Mm-hmm. Also joining us, secretary of the Hugh Grant Appreciation Fan Club, it's Monty Ashley.
Hi, I'm Monty Ashley. I am playing Krong, the bugbear rogue, who's basically, he used to be a nightmare monster that hid under the bed and scared and ate children. I put finger quotes there in case he didn't really eat children, but I think he probably ate some children. Anyway, the point is that right now, we're in a tavern or something. He looks like a fat merchant in a green suit, green bowler hat, and huge mutton chops, because I got a hat of disguise.
Oh, right.
Nice. So you're looking like a totally different creature then? You just said merchant. I was like, can bugbears not be merchants?
They can be, but this guy is a human.
Okay.
The generic, humans seem to walk around without being bothered in a way that bugbears aren't.
Yeah, makes you think. So
Sure does.
also joining us, director of Smooch, it's Annette Wierstra. Welcome back, Annette.
Hello. I am playing Jay Raff, who is an Aasimar paladin. She worships the queen of Raven Queen. I should know the name of my own goddess, the Raven Queen. I'm a little obsessed with death and ravens, and I am dressed pretty goth, so the opposite of my friend Levithia, who I grew up next door to or something. And I have a tattoo on my back that is a tattoo of disguise, but when I'm not using it, it sits on my back like a giant raven. It's very cool.
I love that
So
classic duo from all works of fiction. The two friends, the goth and not a goth, is it's just a classic dynamic that's tried.
That comes from Shakespeare, doesn't it?
Oh, I thought it was from Frog and Toad. So yeah, that's great.
I thought it was based on the picture of those two houses in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Also joining us, welcome back to the next your returning appearance on Total Party Kill, Lincoln Hayes. Welcome back to Keys from the Golden Vault / Total Party Kill /
Tony.
this adventure.
I'm thrilled to be back. Lincoln Hayes, he, him, his, playing Xantar Quickhands. Same pronouns. Xantar is a deep gnome sorcerer. He's got dark gray skin. He's got white hair with blue highlights, kind of like turquoise eyes, black nails, a little bit of jewelry, some tight-fitting leather jacket, and he's quite infatuated these days with Mr. Krong because being the only actual rogue in our party of thieves, he feels like he has a lot to learn from this nightmare monster.
Mm-hmm.
So in our downtime, he's been following him around quite a bit and pestering him with questions.
That's not creepy at all.
In a friendly way.
I buy him lots of drinks.
In a Mr. Krong, Mr. Krong, Mr. Krong kind of way.
Exactly. Yes.
And we are excited to have a new player here joining us at Total Party Kill, longtime incomparable panelist and contributor, but first time Total Party Killer. It is Chip Sutterth. Chip, welcome to Total Party Kill. Thank you for breaking your long Dungeons and Dragons hiatus to be here.
I have emerged from the crypt that is my home to join people in actual online gaming. Chip Sutterth, he, him, his, and so is my character Josh Molis, who is a cleric, and I will let him introduce himself more when he joins the party.
All right.
Hooray.
So our adventure today starts at the Phoenix's Beak. Phoenix's Beak? Should really know how to say the name of the tavern you all hang out at.
Off to a good start.
Yep. Our adventure today starts at the Phoenix's Beak, the tavern that you have been known to frequent when at home in Varkenbluff, waiting for your next job opportunity, or just, you're hungry and you don't want to go home.
Goblin toast.
It has been a couple weeks since the adventure at Delphi Manor, where you recovered a book of forbidden knowledge and presumably saved at least some lives by making sure that Marcos Delphi did not summon forth things from another dimension that would have been just real bad for everybody. So it's been a couple weeks, and perhaps you're not too surprised when the familiar arrival of a little golden key clatters across your table one day. You know that this is how the Golden Vault makes contact with you. You have basically a little wooden box that you fit keys into and hear messages from your handler whenever it is time for that to happen. So who will pick up the key and place it in the lock today?
I'm not paying attention.
I will.
All right.
I pick it up. I put it in the lock.
All right. Jay, always quick to rush into action, places the key in the lock and hears a quick message from Mira Rahir, who is your contact and handler for the Golden Vault. And she asks you to come, please, keys, come at your earliest convenience to this blacksmith shop. And this is new, kind of a map of Varkenbluff appears over the box, showing like a little highlighted square, which is the tavern you are in now, and a little path that kind of zigzags across the commercial district of Varkenbluff and ends at apparently a blacksmith shop, maybe a 10-minute walk from where you are now.
I changed
very
in Zoom.
fancy.
Are there any details?
Yeah, you can see that as you zoom in, you can see that the blacksmith shop is it's the Axe Breaker blacksmith shop, and it's got kind of a dwarven logo next to it.
Axe Breaker? That's I mean, they don't want to break axes, do
No,
they?
it's a
Seems
shop
kind of
for people
counterintuitive, doesn't it?
who are axe breakers. It's
really dragging
named
out
after
the
their
getting
clientele.
to the part where Chip joins the adventure, people.
Well,
right,
we
do we
wanted
know
to do
this-
a few minutes of role play, Tony, if that's okay with you.
It is okay, especially now that by complaining about it, you have also, which is kind of my fault, we have now further extended this segment of the session.
I guess we should follow this path across the street. Good thing they designed this for us. They haven't designed this to get us into any heist targets or anything, but they sure do have a nice map of the city.
That's a good
By the
point.
way, Krong's voice does not change at all when he's disguised.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Would any of us already be familiar with this blacksmith shop?
Roll history,
What if I don't want to?
and you don't have to.
All right,
Eight.
I'm not gonna.
Chip, are you taking notes? That's how you do
I
it.
rolled
Yeah.
a 10.
Chip, there's a lot of different approaches to Dungeons and Dragons. Erica's is a very powerful approach that I would never question or criticize, but also maybe don't everyone be like that.
Instead of yes and, it's no, period.
Yeah, it is. This is an adventure, a story that we tell together, and but Erica also will tell you me when I'm wrong. It's a system. It works. Did anyone
I'm
actually
familiar
roll?
with this
I rolled a
place.
10.
All
in
right.
history.
You think you've walked past it before, but never really noticed it. It's in Varkenbluff. It's probably you would probably know it's not one of your fancier upscale blacksmith shops that maybe your family would
I
would
got
shop at
my new axe somewhere else.
somewhere else.
fancier.
Yeah.
I don't really
So,
use weapons. Seems
Yeah.
crude.
take that, weapons owners.
Yeah,
It
fine.
is,
Well,
but,
shall we?
I thought
it
we were
works.
friends, but whatevs.
All right, let's go, I guess.
All right. It is a short, brisk trip across town to it's a slightly more kind of industrial section of the of Varkenbluff with lots of various trade shops there. So there's, people making barrels and sawing wood, and there's a couple blacksmith shops, and you find the axe breaker blacksmith shop. I think you could probably infer from context clues that the Axebreaker is the name of the family that owns and operates
Even
the
weirder.
shop. Yeah.
Mhm.
As a family with a long tradition of breaking axes, and here they're trying to reverse their curse.
Mm. As you head into the blacksmith shop, there's a kind of burly looking dwarf, kind of red hair, braided. He's banging away on something on an anvil. He looks up at you and then says, "They're in the back," and points you toward kind of an office at the back of the big kind of open warehouse space that is the blacksmith shop. I apologize if I am misrepresenting blacksmith shops. I've gotten a lot of feedback about how I represented leatherworking in a previous episode. So just remember that this exists in a fantastical reality where any of Tony's mistakes about how things are made in the real world are left in there as Easter eggs for people to find.
I've watched every episode of Forged in Fire. Seems right so far.
Wow. Okay.
Just said it was a room, really. So
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
Did I
do that in a
mention
room.
that there's a ceiling, and there's an
What?
office?
You ruined it.
Yeah.
My immersion gone.
Are you willing to follow directions of the blacksmith to the office in the back of the blacksmith's workspace?
Fine.
Seems our reputation precedes us.
No.
Yes.
So in the office, there are three people sitting around there's a central desk that's kind of covered with pieces of paper. One of them you recognize right away as Mira. Mira Rahir, who is a young woman. She kind of probably her day job / cover for the Golden Vault is acting as a scribe in Varkenbluff. This is probably the first time you've seen her in person in a while, and she is flanked on either side. On one side by kind of elderly looking dwarf. He's got little spectacles perched on his big nose, but he's still kind of garbed with a big heavy duty apron as if he's working with his hands. And on the other side is Chip. Correct me if I misrepresent this person, but it looks like kind of a young human man clad in pretty sturdy looking armor with some religious iconography on his armor. And Mira kind of welcomes you in and says, "Oh, thank you for coming so quickly. This is a special that we get to meet in person, but it was necessary to make introductions. This is Varen Axebreaker, a friend of ours, and this is my coworker who'll be working with you, Josh."
Hi, I'm Josh. It's great to meet all of you.
Welcome,
Hi,
Josh.
Hey,
As
Josh.
the newest person in this group, it's nice to meet you and to not be the newest anymore. So welcome.
So Josh is giving off youth pastor energy.
Love it.
He's got brown hair with the kind of flow that indicates that he really wants to be cool and liked, and a little practiced sparkle in his eyes that suggests that he is devious but not too devious. You're possibly going to love him, you're possibly going to hate him.
Krong, who I'll remind you looks like a fat merchant in a green checked suit and a bowler hat, walks up and sticks out his head. It's good to meet you. And if you take his hand, your hand feels like it's being enveloped in a huge furry thing.
It's kind of like Cookie Monster is biting you.
Yeah.
Wow, nice to meet you. That's warm.
Very.
The elderly dwarf kind of clears his throat.
I look at him.
My name is Baron Axebreaker.
Hi,
And Mira here says that you're gonna help us out. Problem me and mine have.
Sure.
We do tend to like to help.
We'll do our best. What's the job?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of the Axebreaker clan before. We're not as prominent or well off or wealthy or fortunate as perhaps we used to be. You see, there was an incident. Someone stole from us, ripped us off. They took basically everything we had, left us with nothing. And we've been trying to rebuild and running a legitimate business and doing what we can. I just realized that nobody sounds legitimate when they say legitimate. So let's just say he said an honest business.
We're honest businessmen.
Yeah.
Very
business.
honest, legitimate, above
Just
board business.
Totally
sounds
normal
so much better.
blacksmithing.
I work in sanitation.
Wink.
Anyway, this back
anyway.
room is devoted to a secret society that does things all over the city, but we're legitimate and normal.
They're just this is clearly an ad hoc situation here. So it's been years, but we've finally tracked it down. We found out where our clan's wealth was taken and where it's been hidden from us. The problem is, well, it's magically locked up, and we need you all to get to the person who locked it up and get the key from them.
Wait, so somebody stole your family's wealth and then didn't use it themselves. They just locked it somewhere?
Mira takes this moment to kind of step in. It's very complicated, but yes.
Okay. Sure.
I'm glad he stepped in for that.
You just need us to retrieve this.
Yeah, Mira says. So the catch here is the person who knows how to open the vault with the Axebreaker fortune is well indisposed. Specifically, we have tried to reach out to this person in the past, and they've been somewhat uncooperative and bit of an important figure in some less than scrupulous settings. But to further add insult to injury, this person is, there's no easy way to say it. They're incarcerated. They are they're in prison. Perhaps you've heard of Revel's End. And they're not going to be released anytime soon. They've been there for quite some time, and it's not expected they're going to get out. But we need somebody to we need you all. We've assembled you all. This cause is important to the Golden Vault. That you keys will break into a prison and return with the key to the Axebreaker Fortune.
At least breaking into a prison is interesting.
The
Mhm.
elderly
I've not done
dwarf.
I'm pretty sure that breaking out of a prison's interesting too.
Varen
Yeah, he's
Axebreaker,
right about that.
says, "I've been assured that you are the best that's available." Um,
That doesn't bode well.
Story checks out.
Well, thanks.
hey, they assigned you a new player character to help out with this.
It is the heist festival on the other side of town right now.
Yeah.
All the hotel rooms are booked up.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Look, we need you to question the prisoner and learn how to open the vault. How you do that is up to you. You're not gonna tell me how to smith metal. And I'm not gonna tell you
That's
how to
right, metal.
do your job. Thanks. Blacksmithing. We have collected some information to help you out with, and Mira has promised that there will be additional resources allocated your way. Varen kind of clears aside the pieces of paper that are all kind of piled up on the what would normally be a workbench that has become kind of a desk here, and there's a faceted sapphire the size of a small orange, which in my mind is a pretty big sapphire, kind of under the sheets of paper. And he kind of moves it so that it's like right in the center of the table, and he waves his hand over the gem. And maybe this would look more impressive if a box hadn't just given you directions. But appearing in the air over that sapphire is the glowing blue image of a building floor plan, kind of seen from a crow's eye view. And it even kind of animates with showing little dotted lines that you have to assume are guard patrols moving around. This is Revel's End. I am showing the blueprinty map to people now. I think if for people who are new to Roll20, if you click on that, it'll slightly enlarge to fill your whole window. Yeah. So just something I've been working on.
This is great. I love this. This is so fancy.
Mhm.
It's so high magic.
Yeah.
Not high tech.
No expense was spared on the CGI currently being used in this audio-based podcast. Yeah. So this is it's possible that some of you have heard of Revel's End. It is somewhat infamous as a prison in a remote location. It is mainly reached either by crossing frozen tundra or perhaps more directly by boat. I also have an image of Revel's End that I'm going to show you. That looks like a scene from the Dungeons and Dragons movie because Revel's End briefly appears at the start of that movie. So it is a kind of fortressy looking prison with a big central tower spire. It's in kind of the freezing cold mountains with lots of rocky, jagged coastline. It's kind of on the edge of the water, but it's many hundreds of feet down to the ocean, which I'm sure is horrible and filled with cold rocks that are going to be one of the most painful ways to die if you were to fall off that cliff. But it seems like the Axebreaker clan has put together a very detailed map that shows you all of the prison layout. You can see that it is designed and arranged in kind of what's called a panopticon style, where there are a series of prison cells kind of in the middle of the prison complex that are all viewable from a surveillance tower within them. Be outside of the kind of main prison area, there are various other facilities for the prison, storage rooms, kitchens, mess halls, stables, guard quarters, armories, etc.
Yeah, I'm looking at this map, and why are there stables?
For horses.
Birds?
For horses.
Oh.
Horses 160 feet underground, right?
You can reach it's above ground. You can theoretically reach Revel's End by travel over the tundra. Actually, I should check that. They may not be horses. They might be is it possible
bears?
they're like sled dogs
And
or
it's
something?
so far in too. Like
Mhm.
Monty's asking me
Fascinating.
questions that I got to know the answer to. What kind of animals live in the stables?
While they think about that,
Yeah,
all of these cells are covered with a permanent anti-magic field. So we're gonna have
the
to
map
worry
does
about that.
indicate
Not
that.
thrilled about that.
Yeah.
So we're going to need to get in, hide from the surveillance, get to prisoner 13's cell, have a way to convince prisoner 13 to give up this key, which I don't think he's probably going to want to, and then we have to get out.
Do we
We
think
could
get
this
ourselves
prisoner has the key
arrested.
on them?
Unknown. Just to clarify, the stables are used for both traditional mounts as well as sled dogs, pack animals, or pets that you bring to Revel's End.
Great.
Okay.
You're welcome, Monty.
Who's
You're gonna
pets?
love.
The prisoners?
I imagine like they're being checked in, and you've
The
got like
closet man of Alcatraz?
well, you've got like a parrot with you, and they're like, you're gonna have to hand over that parrot, and
Yeah.
they give you a little, like a little slip of paper with the parrot's name on it, and they're like, see you
coat
later.
check your bird.
Yeah,
Is that what
coat
you're
check
saying?
your bird. I would not coat check any bird that I was a caretaker for. That's just if I was being put in prison, I would make arrangements. That's the kind of pet owner I would be. So Varen is pleased that all of you are think his map thing is really cool, and so he kind of looks particularly pleased as he kind of nonchalantly reaches over and he taps the top of the gem, and the image disappears, and then he kind of holds his thumb over the top of the sapphire, and the sapphire splits evenly into 5 little segments. It's like they're slices of an orange, and he hands them out. He passes each of you a fragment.
Have you thought about just selling this technology?
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive, and I bet you
This
could
is
get
kind of better than weapons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mira says, no expense was spared. I
Nope.
had a lot lot of money left over in the map budget.
That's because all the
If
other
you have
maps were
leftover money in the
hand-drawn
budget,
scratches.
It
maybe
comes
that can
from
come our way.
Xanter, we've talked about this. It comes from a different column. I can't just give you money for equipment. So Varen would like to hand each of you a little chunk of sapphire, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Sure.
right. The at first the kind of chunk of gem feels cold, and then it kind of starts to feel warm in your hand in kind of a pleasing way, and then this might be a little less comforting. It melts, and it's not there anymore. Like you were holding a piece of sapphire, and now it's gone. There's just kind of like a warm wisp of steam, and kind of a part of your hand that it's not like it got burned or scalded, but like it melted and went somewhere. And Varen kind of looks at all of you and just says, think about the map of Revel's End.
I do, because you can't not.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same map that he was showing you on the table is like in your mind.
Can I make an Arcana check to see what the heck
It's
just
called
happened?
remembering.
I'm not good at that.
But I mean, it's like it's in photo. It's as if each of you has a photographic memory for that map.
I only got a 12
Right.
on Arcana. I probably don't know what just happened.
That'll last 7 to 10 days tops.
Oh, great.
I guess we
In
better
case we
boogie.
want to return.
Yeah.
How quickly do you need this done?
Mira says, well, we actually do have some flexibility here, unlike some of our other totally successful, she says to Varen, totally successful, she says to you, escapades that have been on a little bit of a clock. Obviously, we want to help the Axebreaker clan out. They have been, it's the right thing to do. And, there will be other things that we might need to assign you to in the future. But we have some time to allow you to prepare here in Varkenbluff before undertaking this mission. And one of my first kind of tasks for you is to think of ways that the Golden Vault will be able to help you. I do have some discretion here to provide resources. Varen kind of clears his throat and kind of coughs a little bit. In recognition of the fact that the Axebreaker clan will be turning over a percentage of their family fortune to the Golden Vault. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, we recognize that this is a particularly challenging and dangerous situation, and so we'd like to make sure that you are well outfitted for that mission. I would suggest if ask any last questions today, and then we'll meet here tomorrow to discuss what other resources the Golden Vault can provide your way.
Great.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for Mira or Varen Axebreaker in this conversation?
How will we be getting to Revel's End? Will we be going by boat or overland?
It is at your discretion. I would recommend going by boat.
Yes,
travel
that
overland
was
is
more the question of will
awful.
you be providing us passage to Revel's End, or do we need to arrange a ship ourselves?
We would be the Golden Vault would be happy to make arrangements for you.
We just
Great.
have to tell them what
Yep.
arrangements to make.
Mhm.
I want to make an insight check just to see if I think that there's maybe anything that this fellow is holding back.
Mhm.
Like, is there another catch on top of the catch that we already had? That's 15.
I'm going to say that he definitely seemed uncomfortable talking about the nature of the fact that his whole family was like ripped off, and they have so far completely avoided saying anything about the name of the person or identity or anything about the person who did this, other than that they have been referred to as Prisoner 13, currently incarcerated at Revel's End.
I'm not from here, but do I know anything about this story?
Both Jay and I are from around here, so
I'll give you
curious.
a history check. I think it's not specifically local, so I'm not going to say you'd have an advantage for doing that. But I would say, yeah, feel free, each of you, make a history check on kind of local Varkenbluff lore.
18 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got an 11.
I was not paying attention. I only rolled an 8.
15 for Josh.
You know, I think Xanter, you feel like you've heard of the Axebreaker clan in the past, and maybe haven't heard anything about them in a while. And it certainly, if this is, a clan is the name for a family of dwarves that usually run some kind of operation, and dwarven families do all kinds of manner of work. But probably if their kind of clan's legacy and claim to fame is owning and operating a single blacksmith shop, that's not, that wouldn't, usually that would probably not even be so much of a thing a clan would claim, so much as like a person in a clan. So if this is, they are probably not doing great if this is where the head of their family is spending his days.
All right, I'm gonna say, okay, so the way that you described it is we need to find prisoner 13 and convince them to tell us how to unlock the family fortune. So I'm assuming then this person is a mage, because if they're telling us how, like, I know how to put a key in a thing and turn it, so I know how to unlock things, but
You might have to tell us where the key is.
Yeah, is it an actual physical key? Is this some sort of like a spell that's the key to, opening it? Is it a map? What are we looking for?
Perhaps it's a puzzle we have to solve.
I'll be honest,
that never happens.
If we knew, we might not need your help.
What does the vault look like?
It's an immense adamantine door sealed by magic.
Does it have a keyhole in it?
It does.
Okay. And
Okay.
somebody's tried picking it, right? Just gonna.
I will say,
Does
I
Krong is very
apologize.
good
We just
picking
need to get
locks.
these
Yep.
things checked off.
Important questions.
When you say resources, like what are the limits of resources we can ask? Like
Okay.
uniforms.
Mira says,
I could use some vestments.
Mira says, you're free to ask whatever you want. We'll see what the vault can actually
I
provide.
think we should go
Okay.
away and start speculating on
Mhm.
ways to get this done, and then we can come back and ask for stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
We can make a shopping list, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to suggest, I think you've basically been given 24 hours. You might retire to the Phoenix Peak. The
No, we're going
map
back to Levithia's house. We don't talk about the missions in
We don't
public.
talk
That would be
business in public, sir.
ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah, I
uh,
know that.
I will tell you that the map of Revel's End that you can now conjure forth in your mind whenever you think about it is very kind of detailed, down to kind of the blueprint level, and there are even like little notes about some places. So you might learn things by spending time studying that. But yeah, I think you might want to think about like what are the steps of what you need to do? What would that look like? What would some of the resources that you would need to get, either that you all would need to acquire, or that you could, what ask the Golden Vault before you do any work yourself, and see what they can help you out with in terms of that. But I think unless you've got other questions for Varen or
I have
for
one.
Mira. Oh,
This map is amazing and I really appreciate it. Do you have any contacts within the prison? Like, a guard who is a friend or a key or a prisoner that you already know. I'm just wondering if there's anybody on the inside that we could make use of.
Mira's gonna take this question. The Golden Vault has friends everywhere, just like you friends.
Mhm.
I would say that our friends who are currently inside Revel's End wouldn't be the kind of friends that are going to be that useful for us.
Noted.
If they were no longer in Revel's End, could they be friends of ours?
It is probably, as with many of our missions, discretion is the name of the game. And in fact, it is, I should have mentioned this earlier, the warden of Revel's End, the Golden Vault has been keeping an eye on her, and we wouldn't want anything that would damage her reputation too significantly.
Do you know any prisoners in Revel's End?
There are a few. She's gonna rattle off some names. There's Noro Stoutspark. He was, he ran into a bit of trouble, but he's expected to be out soon.
Perfect.
Yeah. And Atreus Firebrand, I think, is actually coming up for review by the Council of Absolution next month. So they run a safe and reputable shop there. It is a place both of imprisonment and rehabilitation.
That's great to hear.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Are
this
they
is
open to the occasional visit from a priest?
I would imagine that clerical services are part of the services at Revel's End. Whether you chose to visit as the fine, upstanding, devout cleric you are, or perhaps somebody who is taking on the role of another.
Okay.
Revel's End is
That's a very
quite
good
a
idea,
large
Josh.
establishment. There are guards, there are cooks, there are at least a few priests, as well as there are counselors who are representatives from the different townships and cities that feed prisoners to Revel's End. So
I'm totally.
I want to
going
go
meet
somewhere and
those
start
Vespens.
talking about what we can do.
yeah. Okay. Any other? I know we're at that delicate. How much? When do we want to start brainstorming? When do we want to start asking each other questions and stuff?
Mhm.
All right.
Let's go to Levithia's house and
so
break
you go to
this down.
Levithia's super classy den,
Parents' house.
parents' den.
Good snacks.
That is, hey, it's an appropriate location for Dungeons and Dragons.
Mhm.
I would encourage you to ask each other as many questions and brainstorm stuff. I think there is the idea that you could probably study the map by just concentrating. So there are potentially things that I could answer for you, but also that you might save up a list of stuff to ask Mira tomorrow. I have a Google Doc for you, which has the map and a place for you to share notes. It has a couple NPCs that haven't been mentioned yet, but I don't think any of them are super exciting, spoilers. So you've got that in case you need easy access to the map or places to do stuff. So you're going to have to break into a prison. It should be easier than breaking out of a prison.
We'll
One
have
would
to
think.
break
We're going to
out
have to
again,
break
though,
out
at
of it
some-
after we break in. All right.
Exactly.
Step 1, getting in. We could just go behind the cleric. We could get arrested, but that could take a while, and we could get arrested, but put in a different prison. That would be
Yeah,
bad.
that would be awkward.
Three of
We
us
could say
have
we're
the ability to disguise ourselves, which we
Very
could look
true.
like
Until we get to-
guards.
until we get to this anti-magic field.
Yes.
Well, it
true.
seems if we
Now-
don't go in the cells, we should be fine.
If we get arrested and get put in this jail, we're going to be put in the cells,
Yeah,
is what I
right.
am
That's
saying.
true.
Let's not do that then.
Another
DM,
idea
I would
had,
like to concentrate on the map itself while we're having this conversation and just see if there are any small crawl spaces where a
I would say that the prison
gnome-sized
is
person could
the
fit.
the prison is particularly bereft of crawl spaces. You imagine that the air quality in there must be just dreadful because there are no human size or gnome sized vents anywhere to be seen. This is Where is that museum? Sorry, Lincoln, you weren't there. That museum had some vents. This prison,
Yeah, and the giant
So-
monster went through them.
yeah. This prison, no vents.
So, other ideas I had for getting in. 1, prison inspectors.
Naturally.
Perfect.
Okay.
2, slightly more realistically, we are a squad of people who are here to interrogate prisoner 13 about something because he's here under severe security. So whatever he was arrested for, then we say we need him and we take him into this meeting room on the left side. Then we interrogate him, we get out.
Do we know what his original crime was? Or there, I
We
should
don't even
say?
know who he is.
You're
Or
even
what he is.
you're presuming even gender already. You've been given no information.
Does anyone have any other
Suspicious.
ideas
So
for how
all
to
of
get
those
in?
all of those ideas are great, but as an acolyte of Tamora, I'm used to going into places and going into prisons and talking to the prisoners and trying to offer them succor or help. And as a
What'd you call me?
and as a also as an acolyte of Tamora, I'm used to pretending to be acolytes of other priests because that's how you have fun.
As soon as you mention Timora, you see Xanter light up. He seems very excited to be hearing his deity being discussed within this group.
I mean, there's nothing that says that we have to all go in exactly the same way together. So
Exactly.
True.
you could, we could have a youth pastor with an assistant and a couple of cooks and a guard or something, but that would probably require assistance from the Golden Vault to get us placed appropriately, and then we need to find each other.
Since 3 of us can change our appearance, perhaps we take on the guise of the warden and we just go in and inspect our own prison and we go and interview our own prisoners.
We would
I'm
have
worried
to find
about this
out a time.
anti-magic field.
Yeah, and we'd also have to find a time that the warden is not going to be known to be someplace else or appear.
Well, perhaps we could make arrangements with said warden to, stay in your office for a while, and a few of us will walk around and stay well clear of the anti-magic field, and those that aren't disguised could go inside and not need magic.
You could also see if we could get prison guard uniforms for some of us that don't require us to be disguised. If there's
Yeah.
enough guards around, that won't rely on the magic piece. But I kind of like Krong's idea of seeing if we could just walk in there and interrogate them. Like maybe they can set something like that up for us. But we should probably have a backup.
Yeah, I mean that
plan.
does seem like the strongest idea in terms of
It's so
just
simple.
getting in. It's elegant.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps if interrogation is too severe, we could be sympathetic to his cause. We're going in to find out about their innocence. Maybe we're, I don't know, some type of rights group. I don't know. Coming in to help with the prisoners.
That lets us be behind the cleric. No one questions a cleric, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can sneak away from a group. Like I look like this right now, and I take my hat off, and now I'm an 8-foot bugbear.
That
Looming over
explains
everybody.
the hand.
Right?
Yeah, see, it's this
Impressive.
giant claw, really. Like it goes over your whole head.
He does it to me a lot.
Yeah.
Watch
So
the
we
coif.
go.
Watch the coif.
Sorry, I like it. So we're like a prisoners' rights group or something.
Yes.
Maybe to make it
Yeah.
a little less obvious, we're a prisoners' rights group and we have a list of, a few prisoners that we are going to interview to ask about the living conditions within the prison. And also, we have a cleric along too.
Perhaps we're writing a book or a pamphlet that we're going to distribute,
Oh, for
thereby
somebody very
necessitating
powerful.
yes, for one of the, I don't know, grand clerics of the Timoran church. If
Yeah,
that's a
somebody
thing.
with a lot of pull, whose name we can invoke and they wouldn't want to go against.
As long as
Yeah.
as long as they're not so well known that we look out of place.
Of course. A regional magistrate, if you will. Someone you wouldn't know but sounds important.
Yeah. That sort of person, I bet the Golden Vault could provide. Just, yeah.
I will mention, because I'm trying to only offer ideas to help you and not to derail you, as I often do, that this is one of those adventures that includes like bureaucracy behind the scenes, which I'm here for. So this is your how does the prison industrial complex work? Revel's End is managed by the Lord's Alliance. All of your characters would be familiar with the Lord's Alliance. The Lord's Alliance is basically it's kind of a loose overarching, it's not really, I mean, it's not quite a government, but like an agreement among a lot of cities and towns up and down the Sword Coast. So that includes Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, Waterdeep, we'll say Varkenbluff, Daggerford, and so on. So just in case you needed who you could be representatives from the Lord's Alliance, or you could be from Varkenbluff or from one of those other towns if that was if you need a town name, I'm your guy.
We could be from a lord that's not in the Lord's Alliance
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
but he's considering signing up.
Is
So
is
then we
there
just need to
yeah.
ask some questions. We'll
Mhm.
tour the mess hall, check out this enormous storage space.
I'll tell you
Why
that
there's only one privy on this side.
I have
Dungeons
a
and Dragons
question.
maps. Yeah.
So Jay and I are, we're Richie Riches and attuned to like the higher class. Do either of us know if there is a lord that like the Lord's Alliance has been sort of angling to get on board that isn't yet?
Yeah,
This is
totally.
the kind of boring gossip that we are,
I'm struggling to think of a town or city that I've used. Oh, here's how we go. Watch this, everybody. This is the dungeon mastering White Sparrow.
I knew it.
Which I want to be clear
Totally called
is
it.
way below the capacity of what should be able to be in in the Lord's Alliance, but they got aspirations, people. White Sparrow is a town where many other adventures have been located.
I've been to White Sparrow in another lifetime.
Yeah. So I'll mention there are 10 different places represented in the Lord's Alliance. Each city or town has a representative assigned to Revel's End, though very few of them would actually be present at Revel's End at any given time, because that would be awful. So
could we get a schedule of who will be there? And
yeah, in fact, I'm gonna say if you study the map, there is on the map, it's labeled counselors, and that is where there's an indicator of 3 current counselors who are at Revel's End, and I put their names in the document for you. Can I tell you what towns they are from? Maybe. Um, but yeah, so there are 3 representatives currently at Revel's End, and the idea is basically when there's cases come up for review, and the council meets to look at the person who's potentially up for review and vote as a committee on whether they're to be released or not. The warden also has a vote on that. So currently in residence at this season at Revel's End is Counselor Voss Anderton of the city of Neverwinter, Counselor Jill Torbo of Baldur's Gate, and Counselor Kriv Norxius of Daggerford. So 3 counselors currently in residence. And I would imagine there's a list of counselors who are not, who with names and titles that are not present.
And we just disguise ourselves as one of them.
Collectively, all of you, like as a Voltron. See, that's
right.
Yes.
that's a derailing
Yes.
comment.
Mhm.
That was
With-
that was
strike-
the plan, Tony. Tony,
strike-
that was the plan. That's what I said.
Strike that from the record.
No, what we're doing that thing you just said.
Mhm. Yep.
I'm the Green Lion.
Yes, and
Am I incorrect in thinking that Daggerford is one of the smaller cities compared to Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, Neverdeep,
Yeah,
Neverwinter?
I would say.
So perhaps we assume the identity of that one as they might be lesser known.
Well, I was thinking we'd assume the identity of one that's not actually on site at the time.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Better.
Like,
Yeah.
hi guys, we're just here just checking it out.
I'm
As you know,
calling
we check it
walnuts.
out every
Mhm.
regularly.
I
And
think that's a
chances
great
are good
idea.
you'd have an entourage with you, which could
Right.
include a guard, some security,
A
tagging
cleric,
along, being real quiet and ready.
a sneaky Secret Service guy.
Mm-hmm.
so are
A
we then
goth gal.
thinking that we have the, a potential White Sparrow lord accompanied by an existing lord that's, we have one of you disguise yourself as a known lord who is trying to bring this additional lord into the fold, and that's sort of our wedge to get in. Like White Sparrow may not sound like much, but boy, do they have a treasury. We want to get these folks on board, something like that.
We want to know
Um,
what's up with that hand.
Have you heard about the hand?
It's a very complicated plan so far. I like it very much.
I feel like it's smart to lean on the bureaucracy side of things as much as possible,
Absolutely.
because at least for me in my real life, that's a thing I understand. And my character would also hate it, but kind of understand it just from
Mhm.
her upbringing.
Yeah.
we know
these
the
75
range?
guards.
Sorry, go ahead, Monty.
I was going to say these 75 guards will not be a problem if we appear to be counselor level or above.
Yep.
Then we
Exactly.
only need to worry about counselor level and above taking
Mhm.
us out.
Correct.
That never
I feel
happens.
like this is very much an Aaron Brockovich situation where really only 2 of us need to be important and the rest of us are just
Aaron
filling in the
Brockovich, the
background.
famous wood elf.
Hmm. Absolutely. You know the story then as well.
I was going to ask the anti-magic field, do we know, like, does that end hard at the door?
Yeah,
Or
let's
is it,
zoom in on
like,
that in our
bleed
maps.
out? So like because if we have one person disguised, we just have to make sure they do not get too close to that anti-magic field to ruin our subterfuge.
Well,
And we could very easily have a ruse for that of, oh, I don't like germs. Keep away from other people.
What's a germ?
this hat disguises me, but I can kind of melt into the shadows, and then my 8 feet just kind of shrinks down to like
Uh-huh.
3 feet tall and kind of goes into the shadow in a corner, and I'm not there at all.
He
I love
does.
it when
you
I
really
look
say-
over at Josh and I say, he does this all the time.
It's so
It's
cool.
true, I do.
It's
I say
kinda
from right
cool.
behind you.
Honest.
To answer the
It's
question,
kinda cool.
the anti-magic field seems to be kind of specific to within the cell, not around
Okay.
the cell. You could
So-
assume that there might be magic being used, as part of the workings of the prison. So It
Ooh.
wow, it gets
And-
down to specifics here. Each field encompasses one cell and its gate. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact or a deity, or any of you a deity, you have to tell me if I ask,
I'm in touch with one.
are suppressed by the anti-magic field and can't protrude into it. Yeah. So
All right.
no magic in the cells.
So we
mean, I
have
did
to
like the
manually
idea
open
of-
this gate and get him
of
out.
interviewing multiple prisoners and having, seeing if we can have them brought to a meeting room for us.
I
think
like
that's
that
great.
plan a lot.
There is a meeting room.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And it seems to be right off the tower. So
So
potentially
we're
having...
documentarians for a civil rights group.
Yes.
Now we're just going into my job.
So that's step get in. Step
Mhm.
avoid surveillance isn't a problem because we're doing everything above board.
Right.
Interrogate prisoner 13. I don't know how we're going to do that. We need to learn way more about this guy, don't we?
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, perhaps we can get that from Mirabelle or whatever their name was. Mira,
Seems like
Mira
if
right
he,
here.
right here.
if he stole, if this is the guy that stole this clan's entire wealth and put it all in one vault,
I wasn't clear on that though, if this is the person who actually did the stealing or if this is
That was
just
the
the person.
That was the implication.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it might just
Has
be a question
anyone
of asking why.
I'm gonna put that on your list of questions for Mira right here. Is
yeah.
can we
Like,
learn more?
are we going to
about-
have to shake this guy down or what?
has anyone seen the old minstrel show Richie Rich? Perhaps the Axebreaker clan's fortune is not actual wealth. Perhaps it's sentimental wealth. Who knows?
Mm.
I
Maybe
mean,
just a
if
bunch of
if
magic
their
items.
whole
That's
livelihood is
the golden
one
ball is going to
blacksmith
be
shop.
piss off when they get paid in a percentage of sentimental wealth.
You know, you get paid in experience.
Mm.
That's how it works.
What is this? 20% of a memory of a beautiful summer day?
Mm,
I mean,
You're
I'd
lucky
take
to
it.
get 20%.
yeah,
Which 20% though? Is it like the scent? The
Sunrise.
just the rose and rosebud.
If things go wrong, my instinct is that we should go up to the top, up out the tower roof, and then I don't know. I just think that we should go up to the tower roof at
Just-
some point.
start with that.
Could we
So it
bring
sounds like we're going to
parachutes
need
or
counterfeit
something
documents.
that helps us fly?
True. Tony,
Mm-hmm.
does Jonathan exist in this game?
Amazingly, no. That
Ugh.
seems like a real oversight, right? I will tell
Uh-huh.
you that. So Lincoln is specifically asking a question in reference to the hit movie Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves in theaters in the past, in which they do the main characters are briefly incarcerated at Revel's End. I believe Jonathan, the what is he, an Aarakocra? I forget
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
kind of creature
totally
he
an
is.
Aarakocra. It's very
I believe
good.
that he is playing the role of somebody on the Absolution Council, right? So he's
Uh-huh.
he's one of the judges there. So I don't know why they gave me a list of other people, and I mean, maybe that I don't know if that was a secret or they make these things way ahead. But yeah,
Or
Jonathan
did Jonathan
is not
did he get fired because of what happened in the movie?
that was
and-
not his fault. That would
Probably
be
not.
Doesn't
He's got
have to
put
be.
on-
Have you met bureaucracy?
bureaucracy. I'm just saying that's not on him.
He's literally the fall guy.
Spoilers for the
don't
movie. There's a character named Jonathan, and he could lose his job
Because of something that's his fault.
yeah. But except Tony thinks it's not his fault. Think about that the next time you're watching that movie.
Mm,
I'm just gonna. So I've been attempting to be a non-interrupting D&D dungeon master. I've taken down various notes about some of your ideas. I've
Thank
mentioned assets that you have versus assets you want, which include forged documents,
Or
Mhm.
yeah, like
Mhm.
good forged documents.
maybe some disguises. Why not? Even if I mean,
Guard uniforms.
yeah,
I mean, we already have a bag of holding, so we have a place where we can put a bunch of
I'm just saying,
a variety of disguises just in case
even
go
even if
sideways.
like you don't need a fake mustache. Why would you not wear a fake mustache? Just you've got a reputation to uphold. As we are approaching the end of our hour today, are there other things that you would like to uh collect, as far as maybe we'll start next time with your meeting with Mira here?
Perhaps
I
if
would
we
like
could get
to-
any magical items that could teleport us out. I don't know if they're willing to do anything like that, but perhaps we just take him into a room and there's a door and that door leads out of the prison and then we all leave and
I
shut
will
the
tell
door
you,
behind us.
Xanter, I will tell you, you could probably get the Golden Vault to lend you, not permanently
Sure.
gift you, lend you. You're gonna have to like sign it out. Some maybe a powerful magical item. You might want to do some research into what that could be.
Sure.
I would like to investigate this surveillance thing at the center of the panopticon,
Mhm.
just to make sure that there isn't a detect lies automatically going or something. Like if there's just a giant zone of truth over the entire prison,
That could
Mhm.
be awkward.
Mhm.
that would be amazing. I
That
love
might
that
make it
idea.
hard to operate a
You're
prison. So
I don't see why. You're just telling the truth. Do this or you will go to solitary.
well, but I'm thinking from the Erica bureaucracy side. Like, guard says, I want a raise, and the warden says, I can't give you a raise because no.
It's a very precise zone of truth.
Yeah. Um,
I want a raise. Before I tell you,
yeah.
step this way 10
Step
feet.
over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come into my office. Let's
I
discuss
am
it.
not seeing anything in here about I think the map does not have information on any kind of magical protections. You're studying the surveillance hub, which is in the middle of the panopticon, is this kind of hexagonal tower. It is both the place where the guards surveil the prison cells. It is also it's a very tall tower. The map shows you a couple cross sections of it. It's basically also the barracks for the many guards that live at Revel's End. It does not apparently have any kind of magical surveillance. It's basically a series of arrow slits that look out on each of the prison cells. The only thing that seems particularly magical, and I'm going to say that the map gives you this information, is that there is basically some kind of combination of magic and technology, probably the work of Gond. There is some kind of control panel in the surveillance room, Krong, that seems to be the main way that you open and close all of the prison cells.
I have another question about just the world.
It also has a lighting controls and public announce system.
Ooh. I would like to find a way for us to use that, just because it sounds fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when it goes wrong, I'm definitely going to be in there turning off lights.
Yes.
So the spire in the center of Revel's End is this big multi-story tower, barracks, surveillance room. I think the surveillance room is kind of on the first floor, if I'm remembering the map correctly, because it looks out on all the cells. There's higher up there, the warden has an office. There's the place where the they have their meetings to discuss whether somebody's going to be let go or whatnot. So I know it says tower level 1, 2, and 3. There are many levels to it because it's a very tall tower, as shown on the picture of Revel's End.
All right, I have a question about the world. So we already know that there's the 10 lords, and our idea is to be trying to bring in another lord. Is there an existing prisoners' rights organization that we could just, that's well known, that we could say, yes, we're from?
No, that's not write a letter to Wizards of the Coast and demand that they add that
All
to
right,
the lore.
we're introducing the concept of prisoners' rights to Dungeons and Dragons. This is not
Erica.
Panopticon
Erica, how many prisoners' rights organizations can you name in real world?
A couple, but
okay, more than 5.
Lincoln, how many you got?
Yeah,
I mean, the one I work for. So.
yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, like a panopticon is definitely a cruel way to have people imprisoned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
And they're so overguarded too. There's 24 prisoners and 75 guards.
That was like the main critique of this adventure that I read. People are like, "That's way too many cards," and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I think
I
the prison
assume that
on
this is a
3 a
super
day.
villain.
This is Arkham Asylum, I think. Or,
I am not sure.
Blackwater. No,
I
what's that
think
called?
So when I turn off that
Bell Rev,
anti-magic field,
yeah. I mean, I think Prisoner
The Joker
13.
comes out.
Let me say, I was surprised, for example, because it did seem like an Arkham Asylum. Like, are people just put in here for life? But then also, like, literally, they have people voting every month on who's getting out. So, I think there are some high-level important, people that maybe are never going to get out, like Prisoner 13. But then I think there are probably people who are like, they're here for a couple years. I don't really know how does the justice system work in a world where a lot of people seem to just get murdered left and right. So
well, Tony,
hey,
let me explain it to you. They
Yeah.
built this prison
yeah,
assuming there were going to be 24 top-level supervillains to
yeah,
be imprisoned at all times. There aren't. There's like 2 or 3 tops.
yeah.
But they've got the prison, so the other prisons in the world just kind of like drift people up. So there's
Did I
always...
mention that this is a for-profit prison? Does that change it? No, it's not. It's not.
Let's burn this to the ground.
Yeah.
Is it 24 prisoners per floor or just
I think
total?
just 24 total. So
And they're all on one floor.
at least in the map I've been given by this adventure.
All right.
And
okay.
there's only one privy, and it's through the storage room on the other side of the tower from the mess hall.
Look, you're just lucky that they remembered to put one on the map. You've seen D&D maps. How many bathrooms did you get?
True, not a lot.
But once you put one, it opens the question.
It does. Where have
It's
all
a
the other
big
ones been?
privy,
I have
too.
the
It's
same
like,
problem with
30
Lego.
feet
Let's
by
not
20
start.
feet.
Yeah. So other questions. The challenging thing here in podcast format is, how do I bring a brainstorming session to a thrilling, culminating cliffhanger?
I've got it. You ready?
Mhm.
I've got the best idea in the world. Now you cut in and say,
Does
and we'll
Monty
find out-
have the best idea in the world? Will Mirror here be able to provide the resources that you need to get the job done? What horrors await you at Revel's End? For questions, that's not how that goes. What will be
Wow.
the
This time
funny
it is.
name of the boat they will use to get to Revel's End? For answers to questions such as these, tune in next time to Total Party Kill.
Perfect.
What if we go overland and there's no boat? So there.
Yeah, you could arrive by sled dog.
We could arrive on the tower roof and sneak in.
I like that. Maybe we-
There are no bad ideas in
Cobra.
there is
That's
no bad
dark.
ideas in brainstorming, said one of my least favorite coworkers to me once 20 years ago, and I haven't forgiven him.
Someone said that to me once, and I made a point of proving them wrong.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
They were like talking about, like, the thing we were doing was like, let's reorganize some furniture in a room, and he's like, what if we move the walls? And I was like, no.
That is a bad idea.
I
yeah,
think
you could-
I'm writing down what items can we borrow from the Golden Vault. All right. I think you did okay there in terms of planning stuff.
Okay.
I'm excited to see what we can do.
D&D's first ever prisoners' rights organization.
Yeah, we literally basically didn't use the map in Roll20 at all, so that was great. Good job setting all that up. Live stream / bootleg. I think this is where we say goodbye to you. We plan to be back next week ? With a continuation of this adventure. If not that Tuesday, a very near Tuesday in the near future. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Erica,
Bootleg.